Don't ask, I don't even want to speak about it. Anyway, here we go. I'm not even gonna give this a title because I just don't give a fuck about the title. I'll get the title later. I'm not about to explain it, I'm just about to get into this shit. From the picture, you can already tell that at this point, I just don't give a fuck. Shit's pissed me off, and I'm just tired of being fucked with at the moment. So I'm doing this one just because I need to just fucking blow off steam and just get over this bullshit that I just been put through for the past couple weeks with this bitch. And yes, I'm going to use that term because right now I don't give a fuck. And if you have something to say about it, just fucking leave. Alright, so now I'm going to say the title because he don't even deserve a title. This deku. Hmm, this deku wasn't born to Inko. Because Inko's a good mother and she doesn't deserve like this shit I'm about to put Midoriya through and or what she's done. In this random woman or stupid ass mother or junkie or whatever the fuck you want to call her is about to have Midoriya. Not by the normal 9 months. He's 7 months. Because of the shit she's been putting in her body. Crack, cocaine, weed, all not weed, because like basic drugs that every junkie would use. But she decided to have a child. Therefore, like this child, like Midoriya when he came out wasn't like built as he should. He wasn't. He was barely able to breathe. He wasn't. He wasn't strong. He was mentally deficient. Like many things was wrong with him, and the doctors didn't think he would live that long. But there was one good thing to come out of it. He was force sensitive. So from birth, it would be decided whether he was good or bad. While both sides reached out to him, it's really up to his mother and how she treats him to see what side reached out to him. But his mother just didn't care. Therefore, because she knew he was weak, she thought that she would give him a proper burial or send off. That's what she told the doctors because they said he wouldn't live long. So when she left the hospital with him, she just chucked him in the fucking trash. Didn't even give any second thought. Just put him in the garbage in a dark alley and just left him there. Not even giving him the chance. Not trying to like have him around just to see if he gets better. She just didn't care. So that's where Deku lays, like in a dark alley. Like it's freezing cold. And he knows that he doesn't have one. I mean, maybe Deku doesn't understand what's going on. All he knows is that it's dark and cold. And that's when the dark side finally reaches him. And through this, he starts force draining everything, like everything around him. Any piece of life that comes within his radius is drained. And because he's next to the hospital still, that in turn goes to that hospital. So he's been doing this for a long time because I'm time skipping. For a total of 3 years, pretty much. He's been life draining the whole hospital to the point where the hospital had no choice but to close because of the fact that for the past 3 years, doctors, nurses, patients, everything would just simply seem to wither and die there. So they believed it was cursed. Exorcists came by, anything that could basically take out spirits came by, and they couldn't find anything. All they felt was the life being drained from them as well. And to the point where the hospital had to close down. And Deku, from that point on, was three. He pretty much gained 2 months that he had in development in his mother and more. He was stronger than any 3-year-old should be, because of everything he drained from people. And And as he was 3, he realized that he didn't have a quirk, as he heard voices from the dark side, many many distant Sith lords and everything. And at this point, it's been like hundreds of years since a Jedi and Sith were last seen. For him to be the first one in them at much time is pretty much unheard of. So both sides reached out to him. Just the dark side reached first. From from here on, he would go on to basically learn about dark side powers, arts, and figure out he had his own strength. He had own power called Breakpoint, and through this, he would hunt, kill, and basically forge his own weapon. And it wouldn't be the one on the screen; it would be a different one. It would basically because the Sith tell him it's not worth doing what we did and putting your force into a weapon. I mean, putting your soul into a weapon. You actually all you have to do is build one yourself, and then just put input your force into it, and it'll be just as strong as ours. From that point on, he would go on to make his own sword and would polish it off into being the one he uses even to the current day in the future. That's how strong that sword is. It's made out of many lackluster metals at the beginning, things you can find razors, needles, anything he can find. He would force it all together and sharpen it with just a random stone until he got what he needed. But as time went on, as for months, days, years, the blade would constantly extend because he would constantly put work into it. And from here on, he is in the presence of many dark side users. They basically because he has his own presence of mind, but he listens to the dark side because they're wiser and older than he is. So from the age of 3, he's taught the Sith Lord ways, and therefore he is to become the first Sith Lord in hundreds of years. And through this, through him, they realize that all the planets that used to be there aren't. As time goes, stars go away as well, and humans have lost the ability to space travel and all that. So therefore, he has one planet to conquer, and that's Earth. Though he doesn't see it as that, he just because of the way he was brought up and how the Sith seen everything that he went through. All he wants to do is destroy. He doesn't care about taking over anything. He just wants to destroy everything in sight. Anything that could physically he can fight, he will fight. Any hero that says he shouldn't do that, he will kill. He doesn't have no remorse when it comes to that. However, the Sith Lords do have a plan for him because they see it as that because the dark side is more emotional when it comes to things because they have more feeling when it comes to anger, sorrow, and all that. They know how to deal with it. They tell him that he is angry for a reason, and they will be too. However, you do not need to kill everything in sight, but we see a reason for that, and we shall give you what you need to do. I mean, we'll teach you, and we'll find, and in turn, you will become a Sith Lord. But there's one trial before you do. And when he says, "What is it?" he says, "You have to kill your mother. She's the only thing that's been keeping you angry all this time." After that, you will feel a lot better because you're harboring onto something that shouldn't be there. And upon hearing that, he didn't have any mixed feelings about that. No feeling of remorse, just show me the way. Because this is the same mother that neglected her child after a long period of time. And even then, like she didn't even give him a chance. She didn't test for a quirk or anything. She just left him there. And in turn, he turned to the dark side and now is on the hunt for her. Because this is his first official mission before he gets inducted. It takes him about a week before he actually does find her, though. And he finds her in the same place he was. But this time, it wasn't him who was weak, it was her. Due to all the drugs, she's basically gone insane and is in this alley. And there she's in this alley. When Deku walks down, she sees him, a 3-year-old Deku who's gotten strong enough that he can walk on his own and do everything on his own. And upon seeing that, she basically thinks she's seen a ghost and that she is dead. But Deku makes it clear that she is not dead yet. And he asks her questions. Why did you leave me? Why didn't you give me a chance? Why didn't you just take me in and keep me for at least a little while? And to all that she responds, you were weak. I didn't know you'd grow to be like this. And even then she says, you're still probably weak as it is now. And he says, coming from a junkie. And that's the final straw. He just force trains her. He didn't even give her the chance to say sorry or anything. Because that answer alone was enough for him. And with that his anger subsided and became more knowledgeable and more prone to listening more to the Sith. After that, he was inducted in as an Inquisitor. And as such, shall be treated as such. Now, as for the dark side, they have many plans for him. They want him to start by destroying the hero culture that surrounds the world, that surrounds Japan, because he also agrees that heroes have made people soft. It should go back to the way things should have been. When you have a quirk, you can use it whenever you want, whether it be for good or for evil, and it's up to the people to solve that. You don't need heroes, people who are on a payroll, to do that. Just because you get paid doesn't mean you're a damn good hero. Heroes are people who just do it out of their own selflessness. And they even said that only one person that comes to mind who can almost do that is All Might. Even then, he still gets paid a lot of money to do it. So therefore, he's under that one too. And when Deku asks, what about the students? And they say, what about them? They'll learn sooner or later that heroes do it without pay. They put their own time and effort into doing the shit. You don't get paid to just sit there and do it. Heroes aren't models or anything. Heroes are just people who just do it out of their own heart. And then they said people like firefighters and all that in this world, they're the heroes. They do that shit just even though they get paid, they do that shit out of the peace of mind that they have. That I'm going to go in and save someone, not just go in, do my job, and get paid. That's not what they're there for. They know that job comes with the risk never to come home. And as such, that's Deku's mission, to kill many heroes and go and lead Japan basically to a new path. A path that basically says we don't need heroes to solve our problems. Everyone in My Hero can solve their own problems their damn self. Whether it be robbers, bad guys, or anything, you can use your quirk to stop them. And that's his mission, basically to reset Japan back to the way they feel it should have been. Through this, he has learned many things over time, because in They they even told him you'll need many years to prepare because you're not yet strong enough to deal with many heroes. The little heroes, yeah, you can knock them off every day, any day. But the bigger ones, you need time. So I say they say for 10 years we will go into the forest and train. You will learn many arts, Sith arts, many different things. And as such, for the 10 years he has learned many things. Force drain, force heal, force choke, force anger, illusionary shit. And he learned how to anticipate and see things. He even learned how to use breaking point. In these 10 years he has learned so much so that like he went from Inquisitor to almost a Sith Lord. Oh, not quite. He's like Darth Vader. I mean, he's a Darth. And because they didn't have a name, because he was the son of a junkie, they call him Sith Deku. And they say, and the reason why they call him that is a homage to how useless his mother was at the time. And that will always like be his driving force behind his anger. Because how can you abandon someone that was just born? You neglected your child. You didn't have to have him. You selfishly you chose to carry him for all that time and then just leave him and go back into that same cycle of bullshit. And therefore, there he went. After 10 years of plotting and scheming, their plans are finally into fruition. Now, to do this plan, they realized that there are many villains out there that sought the same thing. Stain, though his ideals were different, they were kind of the same. The League of Villains, as again, they were different, but they were the same but different. So, Seth had a wonderful thought, saying, "Join the League of Villains. However, befriend Stain first, for you two see the same path, but but yours sees more bloodshed. I mean, almost the same amount of bloodshed as his." And when he asks, "What's the difference?" he says, "You want to kill All Might. He doesn't." And basically with that he sets out to find Stain. Now this takes a while because Stain is not the easiest person to find. But after a while, I would say after like 3 months, he finally finds Stain when he corners a hero. And in that, like, he meets Darth Deku. And at that point, Stain asks many questions. What is Deku doing? What is this kid doing here? Why does he have a sword, and what's with that menacing aura? And when he asked Deku, "Are you a villain? I mean, are you a hero?" And Deku says, "No, I'm furthest from it." He said, and Deku says, here to not. I'm here to kill fake heroes. I'm not here to basically sign up for the job. I'm here to do it because shit shouldn't be like this. People shouldn't get paid just to save lives. People shouldn't do certain things. And as such, that's when like shit happened. That's when him and Stain had realized their ideas. Stain realized their ideals clicked together, and that's when he started. That's when he became more interested in this Darth. And as such, he like after Stain killed the hero, those two escaped. Deku and Stain went to the rooftops to talk, and they realized that their ideals like compare almost perfectly, and as such it should be, and as such they decided to work together, along with, but for a while, like before the League of Villains, they decided to work together. After that, say for a year, these two have been on the hunt for small time heroes, but that all but they all had a price. The world now knows of Stain and his like they don't see Deku that much, but they know like because of slash marks, there's not just one person out there. Stain was caught on camera. Darth it wasn't, and he never could be, or he never had the chance. People he never gave people the chance to. So through all this, he's like avoided cameras, went into like his regular, basically went into civilian mode every time before he would get caught, or a hero would be nearby that would stop him and hinder his work. He would transform. He would change. He would take off the armor, and he would like basically look like him with black hair, red eyes, and walking down the street. And this isn't like his eyes are just crimson red to the point where it feels like you can feel yourself on almost on fire while looking at him. Now this is a Deku who learned how to focus his rage. He knows how to draw it out when it needs to be and put it away when it has to be. And I'm gonna say after like a while of running around, he's met by one of the League of Villain ambassadors while killing a small time hero. And as such, he realizes this and says, "What do you want from me?" And mind you, this is the portal one. I don't give a fuck what his name is, because I don't actually give a fuck about this point. All he says is, "We've seen your work, and we don't know your ideals, but do you want to work together on this little project we have?" And upon hearing that, he says, "And what kind of project is that?" And when they say to kill heroes, he says, what kind of heroes? When he says people like All Might and the heroes in the society who just don't do shit, and he says Amen, and like he tells Stain this, and Stain also joins. Now these are the first members in this new group of League of Villains, with Deku being younger than Shigaraki by a year or two, but Stain being older. Besides certain people, Stain being older. And with that, this small group was formed before the rest of the people come in. But their first plan was basically the UA a job. Basically, when UA went through everything with the USJ, they were planning to attack, and Darth also said like that's a good idea, but you also gotta take into account what people do. And he says, as such, there could be many heroes or none at all, depending on who's there in many situations. And upon hearing that, Shigaraki tells him that we have a spy. He said, due to the schedule, the only two people who are supposed to be there is All Might and Aizawa with many students. And upon hearing that, Deku says, so this is a grand idea. We can take out a big hero, even though he's not really publicly accepted. And after that, Shigaraki explains how many men are there, how many men we have, how many students there will be, and what heroes are there. And upon hearing that, Deku basically understands that there's only supposed to be two heroes, but All Might come in as a surprise. And Dark Deku knows he's not strong enough to take on All Might yet. Even the Sith Lords tell him that if you see All Might, it's best to flee on sight and regroup and prepare yourself for a fight. And that's how it is. So I say time passes until the USJ. Now upon that, Upon the USJ happening, this plan is follows. Separate the students into many areas. You don't have to kill them, but make sure they can't get in the way. Eliminate Aizawa, and if all like the space hero, and if All Might comes in, try your best to eliminate him. And upon hearing that, everyone knows the plan, and it shall be executed as such. Now the plan goes seamlessly in the beginning. They separate the kids, but Aizawa had more fighting spirit than they thought. Now, while Aizawa is a hero, and as such, he takes out many, many villains. The small time ones, though. But he still sees Deku, Shigaraki, and the Nomu in the back. And 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 Stain didn't come along for this one because he had other stuff to do. But when upon coming to the portal and seeing the Nomu, Dark Deku asks, "What is that thing?" And Shigaraki explains to him that's a Nomu, basically a bundle of quirks in a body. And he says it's not even human anymore. And they said it was never human in the first place. This is what happens when we find people who just don't, who basically are on their last legs and pass away. And Deku isn't enraged by this, as he's seen, like he said, even the dead men don't talk anyway. And he continues to watch. His eyes all creeps closer. And after he takes out the last small-time villain, he's met with the sight of Deku, Shigaraki, and the Nomu. But before, like, Shigaraki tells the Nomu to go in, Deku walks forward and pulls out his sword. I mean, his, like, force imbued katana. And basically, like, looks directly at... he looks directly at Aizawa. And basically tells him that, while your fighting style is fancy, it's nothing compared to me. And upon hearing this, Aizawa doesn't say anything. He just leaps into action. When he throws the tape at him, at Deku, Deku just cuts it into different pieces. And when Aizawa goes to erase his quirk, Deku sees a breaking point in this. As Aizawa approaches closely, he can see it come closer and closer to cracking. And Deku sets a trap for Aizawa, basically. He will act like he will, like, miss on purposely just to get him closer to the breaking point and break his ribs, almost forcing his lungs to collapse. And when Aizawa gets close enough that he can get in the range to basically kick Deku in the chest and send him flying back, Deku swings the sword higher than his head just to make sure he can duck. I mean, like swings the sword low, knowing Aizawa's stance because of all the viewing he did before. When Aizawa jumped in the air, the point reached the point where it was about to break. When Deku seen this, he reached into the air, and with like how big the gloves and shit is on his armor, he reached through and punched the breaking point. Basically, like, which was basically center mass in Aizawa's chest. Doing so, it released a huge, like, gust of wind. They thought it was All Might that came through, but it wasn't. And Aizawa was sent flying back 100 feet, and he was coughing up blood due to the impact of the hit, and the fact that he is now, like, his whole sternum is broken, and as such his lungs have been punctured. And many students, after leaving their containment areas, I mean not containment, yeah, containment areas, see that Aizawa is on the ground, like, and coughing up blood, and all I see is this dark figure with armor and cloak and everything walk up and basically look at Aizawa dead in the eyes. And Aizawa was sitting there. Deku says, like, congratulations, you're the first high hero I got. And kills him. Not even a second thought. Just puts his sword straight in the chest. and pulls it out and walks back towards Shigaraki. And then, like, that aura alone tells students that back off. You don't want no parts in this fight. And Deku walks back, and that, like, energy has been released. Like, constantly, with every step, the students feel more and more pressure on them. And none of them can move. Even Bakugo, who even this point hasn't been under check. And he knows that if he goes close to Deku, he will certainly die. And when they catch the hero 17, who tries to sneak attack them, Deku throws his sword and basically knocks 17's guard off, and Shigaraki basically grabs her and disintegrates her. And that's where I'm gonna leave it off.